So we have completed our home view, and the next step would be every time we click on one of the game mode buttons, we want to navigate to our game view where we are going to play our game. All right. So the navigation, if you check our Ready application, is going to be a model navigation. So our view is presented from the bottom of the screen, and not through, we're not inside a navigation controller that the new view will be presented and added to navigation stack, and it comes from the right side of the screen and goes to the left. So in order to show a model presentation of the view, there are two ways we can do that. And let's go to our code. Inside our body where we have our main, I'm going to add, when we are just presenting our model view, it's not going to be a full screen. So it's going to come right up to somewhere here where is the safe area, and then you can like pull it down. But inside our application, we want it to cover all the screen, and we want to dismiss it only with a button. So there is no way to pull it down and it will go back to our previous screen. So we are going to use the full screen model view for that. So we just say dot full screen cover, and you can see here we have two options. The first one takes some kind of item, and we have on dismiss and content option. And the second one is has an option is presented, on dismiss, and then the content. We are going to use the first one where we are passing an item. And the reason is that when we use this is presented, let's actually go ahead and do that one. Here it takes a binding bool. So for that to work, we are going to have some kind of at state private var is presented, and by default this is going to be false. And every time, let's say, we click on our button, we want to switch this to true. Say is presented equals to true. And this way, if we come here, we put the $, say is presented, because we are using a binding. That's why we use the $sign here. So every time this is presented is changed, this full screen will trigger. And we're going to show some kind of view. So let's go ahead and create a new Swift UI file. And this is going to be our game view. All right. And let's say hello game, just to know that we are inside our game view. And here I can say just show me the game view. So we initialize our game view. So if I actually, I don't even have to run my application. We can do it everything inside our preview. Just give it a second for it to work. Now when I click on is home against human, it will take me to the game view. I can see it covers all the screen. There is no way for me to go back. But the problem with this way of showing it is that we cannot pass anything to our game view if we are doing it this way. And the reason is, let's talk about what we want to pass into our game view. So our game view needs to know the mode of the game we are going to play. So it will do its setup depending on the mode and prepare for that mode. So we have this mode here, and every time we press on it, we want to press the button, we want to take the mode for that button and send it inside our game view. So let's go ahead and try to do that. I'm going to have a mode here. So let's create a variable. And this is a type of game mode. And we're going to pass this inside our initialization. And obviously we need to give it to our preview as well. So let's create a game mode dot, I don't know, online, doesn't matter really. So once we pass this to our view, actually let's also put the string interpolation here so that our view will show us what kind of mode it is. So we say mode dot name. Okay. So right now it's going to show us the online here. If I refresh this, hopefully. We haven't passed the mode here. So what we're going to do is, in order to take our mode from here and pass it to our navigation, we are going to create a state object private var mode, or let's call it game mode, and by default let's set it equals to game mode dot, let's do right here, we are going to do against human. Okay, remember this. So we are setting it against human, and every time we click on our button we want to update this value. So we say our self game mode is equals to the mode we have pressed, which is here, and now we can pass it here. So in order to fix it we need to pass our game mode here. Okay, so the errors go away and we should be able to run our application. Now let's quickly jump back to our game view, and we would expect that we will pass our mode here. So now you can see, because we have in our preview the online game mode, it prints online here. But let's run our application on the simulator. And remember, in our home view, by default, we are starting with against human, okay? So if I press on the versus CPU, I should expect to see against CPU, which I don't see. So we are sending a human for some reason. Let's go, let's actually close our application, because there is no way for us to go back for now. And let's reopen it and click on online, and it still says against human. And the reason is because we are initializing it, the game mode, against human. And this part of the code here, this here, is being initialized at the beginning. So when our value is against human, we will initialize it, and this game mode is changing in our button press. But because this code is already initialized and ready for transition to another view on the first run, this update is already keeping the game mode whatever we had initially. So it doesn't change when we want to initialize, when we want to do the transition to another view. To fix this, whenever you want to pass like a real-time value to another view with our model presentation, we are going to use the first version of our full screen cover, that we are passing an item, not the is presented. And here we have a binding item. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this, and instead here we are going to pass our game mode content. We just hit enter, and right now we are receiving a game mode inside our closure. So I'm going to call this mode, so we get a mode in, and here now we can call our game view and pass that mode here. So what happens here? Every time this game mode value changes, this will trigger, and once it triggers, we are going to get the new value here, and then we are going to initialize our new view. Let's see, why is it complaining? Binding item, and here I'm going to set this one because we are giving it an initial value, and in order for it to be an item here at the beginning, it should be null. Okay, so we are going to make this an optional, and this actually we don't need, and let's get rid of it here. So at the beginning we have it as an optional, so this code will not run because this item is nil. Okay, and once we set the value of it, this will trigger, and we are going to get the mode. Let's see, why is it complaining? We haven't set what type is this, so it should be a game mode. And now the error should go away. You can keep this mode. Actually, it doesn't matter. Actually, game mode sounds better. So we have our game mode, and now we are passing it to our game view. So if I run, I don't think I should. We can do it here. So right now it's null, and I will go with the online. It says online here, okay, which is good. Let's actually, while we are here, let's change this to app strings app name here, because we still have our hard-coded value. And let's try the human. It says against human. So our data is passed correctly, and we can get the new information in our game view. So basically what we have done here, this is all we have to do inside our home view. All right, whenever we set our game mode, which happens every time we click one of the button, we just take the mode, set the variable here, and every time there is a change, this gets triggered, we get a new value and create a game view and pass that value here.